Nestled away all over Ukraine's occupied territory lie Russian air defense systems. These systems exist for one reason: to prevent Ukraine from gaining control over the skies. They're lethal, they hit hard, and in most cases, Russia is trying to keep them hidden so that it can catch Ukraine by surprise. The tactics aren't working for one reason: Baba Yaga. Ukraine's terrifying vampire drone is hunting Putin's air defenses after dark, leaving Russian troops defenseless. And it's not just his air defenses that President Vladimir Putin has to worry about. Baba Yaga, along with Ukraine's other drones, are changing the complexion of the Ukraine war. We take you first to an unspecified frontline sector in the Ukraine war. In that sector sits a Buk M3, one of Russia's most powerful air defense systems. According to Army recognition, the Buk M3 is a medium-range, surface-to-air missile system that has the power to devastate multiple aerial targets. Its 1,565-pound missiles can travel up to 43 miles, and they're guided to their targets using terminal semi-active radar homing combined with an inertial navigation system that allows for mid-course corrections. It's a powerful air defense system. But in this unnamed frontline sector, Ukraine is about to unleash a vampire drone that will destroy the Buk M3 forever. Footage shared by German media outlet Bild shows us what happens next. During what appears to be the late evening, we see the Buk M3 sitting in an open Ukrainian field. That's a strange place for Russia to put it. Each Buk M3 costs Russia around $45 million, United 24 Media says. And that's not counting the missiles the system needs to be effective against Ukrainian aerial threats. But there it sits in the open and potentially vulnerable. Scratch potentially, the Buk M3 is about to be decimated. Coming into shot is a small fixed-wing aircraft that Bild identifies as a drone belonging to the Ukrainian Air Force or the Ukrainian Army. That drone makes a slow approach toward the Buk M3, circumventing the air defense system's complex radars by flying underneath their range. Within seconds, the drone lands on its target. Then, an explosion. The Buk M3 goes up in smoke, causing Russia to lose what Bild describes as a very modern and also very capable air defense system. But for as capable as the Buk M3 may be at destroying incoming missiles and even fighter jets, it has no defense against the small Ukrainian drone. They are simply too small targets, and because they simply cannot be detected by very powerful radars, Bild explains. The Buk M3 wasn't designed to combat drones, and worse yet for Russia, Ukraine managed to hit the air defense system just as it was getting ready to fire. As the Buk M3 descends into becoming little more than a flaming wreckage, the footage shows what appears to be the driver desperately fleeing into a nearby tree line. The Buk M3 is still mobile, but taking out the tracks was never the goal. Ukraine's drone instead destroyed the missile and radar units. It doesn't matter if the Buk M3 can still be driven around when its very purpose for existence is destroyed. The odds are that the driver eventually abandoned his air defense system once he made it to the tree line. A valuable Russian asset destroyed in seconds. The culprit, Baba Yaga. And this is far from the first time that Ukraine's increasingly legendary drone has made its presence felt on the battlefield. We'll get to more examples in a moment, but first let's explore the Baba Yaga. In truth, several of Ukraine's drones are referred to as Baba Yaga by both Ukrainian and Russian forces. These include the Kazan, Nemesis, and the Aerorozvidka R-18. But the most famous of the Baba Yaga drones is named Vampire. And it's the version that seems to most closely follow the legend of the mythical Slavic beast that lends its name to this collective of unmanned aerial vehicles. That beast, which is also named Baba Yaga, is a monster from Slavic folklore. It is a supernatural witch that is often depicted flying around a cauldron or mortar. Baba Yaga hunts for children. Once she catches them, she cooks them in her cauldron before eating them. Often she is depicted as living in a forest hut surrounded by a fence, the top of which is lined with the human skulls of her victims. The mortar is used as a vehicle that she drives with the aid of a pestle, creating a deadly tempest wherever she goes. Often, Baba Yaga accompanies death in his travels, according to Encyclopedia Britannica. What better name for a drone Ukraine uses to hunt Russian air defenses and soldiers at night? As for the drone itself, Top War provides some details about the specifications. It says that most drones that carry the Baba Yaga name are drone copters, which are small aerial drones that can be used for everything from reconnaissance to serving as signal arrays for other weapons. However, their main use, and the reason why Russia fears Baba Yaga so much, is as kamikaze drones that fly almost silently toward their targets before detonating in devastating explosions that are powerful enough to destroy key pieces of Russia's military hardware. The many types of drones that carry the Baba Yaga handle differ in design, operational capabilities, and technical characteristics, Top War says. But what they have in common is that they're all heavy multicopters. most of which have 6 propellers, but some of which have 8. Their diameters, minus their rotors, are usually around 6.5 feet, and each contains a centralized frame in which is installed control equipment, batteries, and the drone's explosive payload. Takeoff weights typically fall between the 110 to 132 pound range, allowing Ukraine's Baba Yaga drones to carry payloads weighing up to 33 pounds. Typically, the multicopters are flown by an operator using a remote control, though some have autopilot systems and can also be guided by both satellites and inertial navigation systems. Typically, the drones are capable of reaching speeds up to 43 miles per hour, though they're slower when carrying a payload, and they can cover distances up to 7.4 miles. That's more than enough for an operator to control the drone from a distance without being caught by Russian soldiers. Baba Yaga terrifies Russia's troops. It scares them so much that the Daily Beast reported in August 2023 that Chechen soldiers serving in the Russian armed forces had started to believe that Ukraine's Baba Yaga drones were equipped with special claws. Just like the Baba Yaga of legend, the drone uses these claws to abduct soldiers, the Chechens claimed. That's not true, but it does show that Baba Yaga has become such an impressive force on the Ukrainian battlefield that it inspires fear in the hearts of Ukraine's enemies, and that's precisely what Ukraine wants. With every successful Baba Yaga strike, the drone's legend grows. The attack on the Buk M3 we mentioned earlier is just the start. Coming back to the build report, it takes us to yet more footage. This time we see what the hunt of the Baba Yaga looks like from the Russian perspective. The footage, which appears to be filmed via a Russian camera, shows a Tor M1 9A331 positioned in a Ukrainian field and ready to fire. That is another of Russia's most terrifying air defense systems, given the codename SA-15 Gauntlet by NATO. The Tor M1 is a mobile, surface-to-air defense system that comes packed with 8 powerful missiles. Army recognition says that those missiles can fly for almost 7.5 miles, and they come packed with 33 pounds of high explosive. The Tor M1 is Russia's solution to the short-range aerial threat problem, as shown by its ability to detect up to 48 targets at once with a speed of just 5 to 8 seconds. But the Tor M1 in the footage doesn't spot the Baba Yaga drone. Unlike most of its Baba Yaga attacks, Ukraine chose the middle of the day to take out the Tor M1. We see the drone hovering right above the Russian air defense system, somehow staying out of the sight of the Tor M1's radar and its crew. Here we see Ukraine taking advantage of the Tor M1's weakness. Its short range makes the drone superior in the coming confrontation, Bild says, even though the Baba Yaga is large enough that it should have been detected by the Tor M1. It isn't, and the Russian air defense system soon pays the price. The Russian soldier filming the incident can only watch in horror as the Baba Yaga descends. Suddenly, the Tor M1 starts moving. A warning must have been sent to the driver, but the effort to escape is in vain. The Baba Yaga continues its descent, adjusting its flight path to match the Tor M1's movements. There is no escape. This time, the Baba Yaga doesn't sacrifice itself. Though barely visible in the footage, it drops its explosive payload directly onto the Tor M1. Just as was the case with the Buk M3 mentioned earlier, the drone isn't taking out the air defense system's wheels. It doesn't need to. As smoke billows from the top of the Tor M1, it's clear that Ukraine's Vampire drone has scored a direct hit. Another Russian air defense system is taken down. This time, that system cost Putin about $25 million. Next, we move on to the Ukrainian city of Soledar, which lies deep in the heart of Donetsk. The city has been destroyed by Russia's constant offensives. But that doesn't stop Ukraine's drone operatives from doing everything they can to hurt the Russian forces in that city at every turn. Such was the case in December 2023 when UATV English shared a video in which it filmed a team of Ukrainian drone operators working in the city, nestled in a control vehicle during the dead of night. Those operators were using Baba Yaga drones to hunt for Russian equipment and repel infantry attacks. They were successful, at least during that operation. The video explains that Russia had just launched another offensive in Soledar, which the Baba Yaga drone operators played a huge role in repelling. By the end of the failed assault, Russia had abandoned 14 of its vehicles. That's where the Baba Yaga operators come into play. Operating at night, they used Baba Yaga drones to destroy the abandoned vehicles, ensuring that there was no chance for Russian forces to reclaim them later on. Along the way, those same operators also used their drones to hunt for Russian infantry, who may have been hiding following the failed assault. Here we see another use for Baba Yaga. It can take out vehicles just as easily as it destroys air defense systems, and when there's no more equipment left to shatter, Baba Yaga goes on the hunt for soldiers. During the video, UATV reports that the Baba Yaga easily destroyed Russia's armored vehicles with its explosive payloads. The operators were happy. One, named only as Roman, told UATV, "Considering the weather, the fact that visibility was poor and we were flying very low today, we burned 3 vehicles on the first flights, 2 more on the second flights, and we completely damaged another armored vehicle on the last 2 flights. Time and time again, Baba Yaga has proven its effectiveness. And it's this powerful potential that led to Army recognition labeling the drones that carry the name a true nightmare for Russian forces. It says that the Baba Yaga embodies the innovative approach Ukraine has taken to warfare, as it increasingly uses drones to target everything from Russian troop positions to ammunition stores, equipment, and even infrastructure. Baba Yaga, it says, has become a nighttime terror for Russia because of its primary asset, a thermal camera. The UATV video showed this camera in action, and it's vital to Baba Yaga's nighttime operations. Transmitting to a small screen in the Operation Control Center, that camera can detect targets at a distance of 393 feet, even in the dead of night. Once it finds a target, Baba Yaga can conduct kamikaze attacks, drop bombs, or if the situation calls for it, even drop mines ahead of the target to essentially ambush it without Russia ever knowing the drone was there. Therein lies the biggest secret of Baba Yaga. It's able to have a massive impact in so many ways in the Ukraine war. Army recognition points this out as it dives deeper into the specifications of the Vampire variant of the Baba Yaga. It says that the drone is such a nightmare for Russia's forces to handle because it's easy to use and resilient to the electronic jamming techniques Russia relies upon to divert other Ukrainian drones. It's also almost completely silent. That makes it ideal for the types of stealth missions we mentioned earlier, in which it's able to sneak up on Russia's air defense systems without being detected. The Tor M1 incident is a perfect example. A Baba Yaga managed to position itself above that piece of equipment even though a Russian soldier was filming the Tor M1. By the time that soldier realized the drone was there and preparing to strike, it was already too late. The bomb was dropped and the Tor M1 was disabled. Operational versatility is also a hallmark of the Baba Yaga, particularly the Vampire version of the drone. Army recognition says that it's able to carry several types of munitions. We've already mentioned bombs and mines, but Baba Yaga can also be equipped with RPG warheads, 82mm mortar shells, and fragmentation munitions. When it's not on the attack, the Baba Yaga's multiple cameras also provide a real-time feed of the battlefield, meaning it serves a dual purpose as a reconnaissance and attack drone. With the Vampire, Ukraine can scope out a target, even in the dead of night, and attack that target instantly, giving Russia no chance to respond. All of these features combine to make the Baba Yaga an invisible threat, Army recognition says. The fact that it can operate flawlessly at night only accentuates that threat, feeding into the mythical stature the drone has taken on both in Ukraine and among Russia's armed forces. And the worst of it, at least for Russia, is that Baba Yaga was never intended to be an attack drone in the first place. As revealed in a May 2025 interview published by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, or CSIS, the drone initially served a much more benign purpose, as according to Katerina Bondar, who works for the CSIS Wadhwani Center. Speaking to fellow CSIS employee and director of that very center, Gregory C. Allen, Bondar explains the true origins of Baba Yaga. These drones, as you can see, they are multi-rotor drones, and they actually come from agriculture. Ukraine is an agricultural country, and Ukrainians use these drones for spraying fields, for monitoring fields. But now actually you can attach bombs here and it becomes a really efficient bomber, Bondar says. Ukraine's use of Baba Yaga so early in Putin's invasion demonstrates the accuracy of this statement. While Ukraine has gone on to build many types of drones since, the Kyiv Independent says the country plans to make 4.5 million drones in 2025 alone, Baba Yaga was always there. But just as we now see on the battlefield, Russia failed to spot it or the devastating potential it held to do major damage if used in a new way. It can go pretty far across the front line and it can bomb positions and actually come back, which saves a lot of resources, Bondar concludes when speaking about the drone. Unseen may be the best way to describe Baba Yaga. And we don't just mean in the context of Russia's air defense systems failing to spot the powerful drone as it sneaks up on them. In January, Forbes senior contributor David Hambling wrote an article in which he hailed Baba Yaga as the unseen, unsung, and underrated hero of the Ukraine war. He notes that the drone's primary use as a nighttime attack vehicle is the main reason why it isn't lauded as much as Ukraine's other drones. While FPVs, or first-person view drones, and small quadcopters get all the attention, the nighttime bombers inflict heavy losses on Russian forces which are barely noted. The reason for so few people, outside of the Russian soldiers who are terrorized by Baba Yaga, paying attention comes down to Baba Yaga's thermal cameras. Imagery shot via those cameras doesn't carry the same appeal as daytime footage that offers a clearer picture of what's happening. Hambling is almost certainly right. And it's likely no coincidence that the footage Built chose to share, which we reported on earlier, was captured during the day. What we saw with the destruction of the Buk and Tor air defense systems were rare daytime missions being conducted by Baba Yaga drones. There will be many more examples, only they occurred at night and are barely ever shared because of that fact. The result, according to OSINT analyst Andrew Perpetua, is that Baba Yaga's kill count is often underestimated. Perpetua's job is to analyze and attempt to geolocate every combat video that emerges from Ukraine, gathering data that OSINT uses to provide estimates for casualties and equipment losses. The methodology used by the loss aggregators is highly conservative and struggles to deal with the types of footage available at the moment, Perpetua tells Forbes, and as a result, will lag behind reality. Often, this means the results of Baba Yaga's work are only officially recognized when daytime images of destroyed Russian equipment surface, and even then, organizations like OSINT have to figure out what caused the damage. Ukraine has pivoted to using heavy bomber drones to destroy vehicles and post tremendous numbers of losses per day, Perpetua says. The OSINT analyst even has numbers to back this up. He shares a graph with Forbes that shows the monthly Russian equipment losses to Baba Yaga throughout 2024. During the first half of the month, those losses bounced between 25 to 50 pieces of equipment. August 2024 saw a sharp rise, with over 100 pieces of equipment destroyed by Baba Yaga drones. By November 2024, Baba Yaga hit its peak. Almost 250 units of Russian equipment were taken out by Ukraine's heavy drones. And those are just the numbers OSINT can confirm. The odds are that Baba Yaga's kill count is much higher. Ukraine is more than happy to have the rest of the world underestimate Baba Yaga. It wants the drone to remain an unseen threat. With that status, Baba Yaga has become the stuff of terrible legend among Russia's troops, an invisible threat ever looming during the night that could strike at any time. Baba Yaga is far from the only Ukrainian drone that is devastating Russia's aerial defenses. We have a video covering another of Ukraine's brilliant drone innovations, the new carrier drones that are transporting FPV drones across the Black Sea to destroy Russia's air defenses in Crimea. Check out that video to discover why these new drones could spell the end of the Black Sea Fleet. And remember to subscribe to The Military Show for more videos covering the brilliant tactics Ukraine uses to defend itself against Russia.